Hi, I'm Kevin EuDaly. Here's a little bit of what you'll see in this episode. On Wednesday, July 3rd, I kind of got off to a slow start, but I wound up with a southbound that I chased down to DeQueen, shot it at the diamond where they cross the DeQueen and Eastern, and then caught the DeQueen and Eastern making a move from their yard up into the KCS yard on the interchange track. So that was kind of an unusual catch, although fairly predictable. The DeQueen and Eastern often middle of the day will make that move. So. And then even after that, I still managed to catch the southbound again on the fast track at Aline, where he's running typically 55 miles an hour. It's the track speed there. So pretty good so far. And then dropped down to Ashdown and caught the Kiamichi working. So that was a nice bonus. They were making some moves in their yard to the west of the KCS diamond. And got them going back and forth several times, and they got done, and so I ate lunch there. Then after lunch, I drove over to the Arkansas Southern facility on the east side of Ashdown, and lo and behold, their little switcher was there shuffling about, and they were going to run into the industry they serve there in Ashdown. So I caught them running back and forth, and to catch DeQueen and Eastern and Kiamichi and Arkansas Southern all on the same day is pretty remarkable. I've never done that in all the years I've been shooting in that part of the world. So that was pretty spectacular on the short line front. And I ended the trip with a southbound at Jury on the south side of Texarkana. And once that cleared, I turned south and headed for the ranch. All in all, pretty successful 3 days. Lucked into a DeQueen and Eastern job here in DeQueen, and he's got 4 units, all GP40 types, a couple of Texas, Oklahoma and Eastern on the back, and Patriot Rail FTRL leader. He's backed up to here. He's probably getting a switch to get into the KCS yard. I'll go up there and interchange with KCS here before long. And that's the curse of a GP40-2 LW leading. On a hot day, they'll leave the front door open to get air circulating through the cab, which messes up the photos. So I drove into Wade and missed him pretty substantially. His rear end was going across the crossing at the south end of Wade. So I drove back out to Horatio and zipped to this crossing and missed him here too. And now I have a camper in front of me and he'll start speeding up pretty soon. So I still don't know which engine he set out at Wade. Probably one of the Bells though. But I'd like to know, because if you set off the lead engine, that would put Bells on the point. So when I crossed the Kiamichi line, I could see a headlight to the west. So we'll see if that comes down here and works the KCS. Sometimes they do about this time of day. Well, the Kiamichi guy is switching, so that gives me time for lunch. Obviously they stopped here and tied it down, so they're not going anywhere. So now that I know Kiamichi is done for the moment, I'm going to run over and check out the other little short line that runs out of Ashdown going east. We'll go over and see if their unit is where it usually is parked or whether it's out somewhere. This was once the Graysonia, Nashville, and Ashdown Railroad, which KCS acquired quite a long time ago, and then spun it off to Watco, also quite a long time ago. And they've been running with just this little SW1500 for quite a number of years. Fairly recently, they won a contract over in Nashville, and so they're running over there once or twice a week, which puts them going across Millwood Dam, which is quite spectacular. Very neat place. So, but not today, just switching the plant. So, after the train at the grade crossing north of Texarkana, I drove down to the south side of Texarkana to Jury, waited for an hour and a half. And at that point, I was pretty cooked and tired of the heat, so I decided to call it a day and head for home. But thanks for watching.